You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Here we go!
PopXcast.
Welcome to PopXcast, a podcast that brings together the worlds of pop culture and science fiction in a way that breathes life into our inner child. From nostalgia to all things retro, pop culture news, film reviews, and the retro rewind, we explore all realms of geeky goodness. So find your comfy spot, top off your glass, and don't forget those pizza rolls in the air fryer because it's time for PopXcast.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Here we go!
PopXcast.
I was born in it, molded by it.
PopXcast. No strings on me.
Autobots, transform! I'm Batman. By the power of Grayskull!
PopXcast.
We're doomed.
Goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Here's Johnny! Never had a pet pony.
Hasta la vista, baby.
PopXcast.
Captain's log supplemental.
Negasonic Teenage. What the
I am the one who knocks. Excelsior!
Excelsior. Welcome, everyone. And it is PopXcast, episode 141, coming to you on this Sunday night, May the 8th. Man, it has been a crazy, fun, cool day. We'll tell you about that here in just a second. But it's been a few weeks since our last podcast. So I just want to let everybody know we're still alive. We're still kicking. We're
still here.
We were just waiting in the balance of the force, if you will.
Yes.
But we got, I tell you what, as spring is kicking off, so is the film season. We've got so much to talk about. And you know what, guys? I got to tell you something. I went back and rewatched our Moon Knight origin stories, our last one that we did. Everything we mentioned in that show came to... We're not going to do spoilers on this show. We're not going to tell you anything about it on this show. Yep. Everything we mentioned was spot on. Austin, what did you think about how we did the build-up for PopX on 140?
I was so happy we went through that. Just us talking about it helped me. It helped my experience. But I could only imagine people who weren't comic book fans seeing that after watching our show saying, hey, I recognize that name. I recognize that character.
Yep.
And they teased a couple of things that are coming in season 2 that we've already talked about. So it was just awesome to do that show. I think it's one of the best we've done so far.
It was good. And you know what? Lindsay and I believe one night sitting in a room and I can't remember where we were at, Lindsay, but we just
in a Discord far, far away.
in a room of many lands far. But we came up with the idea, what about origin stories of doing characters of films that are coming out? Characters we may not know about, but something that we can kind of give you, the audience, to prepare you for things to come. And this is not the end of origin stories. We have a lot more coming out. I want to do a refresher on Adam Warlock since Guardians 3 just wrapped this week. So, but Austin, how have you been, man? You've been traveling and things and...
Yeah, man.
He's a jet setter now.
Y'all, I'm just... Well, it's like I'll have weeks where I'm here and I'm in my little cave, and then I'll have a whole 3 to 4 day trip. I got to go to Philadelphia to their fan expo and
you got to meet
panel with.
You got to meet Poffenbarger, right?
Yeah, John in the chat. John was there to hang out with myself and Sean Chandler. Man, that was so much fun. And I'll tell you what, though, 2 12-hour car rides, that'll wear you out.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't realize you drove. I thought you flown.
That's a long drive,
I wrote
buddy.
Sean flew all the way to Kentucky, rented a car, drove me. He wouldn't let me drive. He said, "This is my trip. I'm driving."
That's crazy.
Drove me 12 hours there and 12 hours back. So that's impressive.
My gosh. Lindsay, how have you been since we've touched base with you last?
Oh man, we've been knocking out art left and right. I don't know if you guys know that I do actual real art when we're not geeking out together. So I've definitely been cranking out a lot of really cool art lately. We've been doing the live streaming thing. You know, it's just been, life has been busy in the real world too. Mom life is always keeping me on my toes, but it's just been business as usual.
I got you on that. Same with you. I've been diving. If you guys ever want to catch me and Lindsay, we do a Twitch art streams sporadically on Twitch. I do twice a week. Actually, I'm going to go live tonight on Twitch, as a matter of fact. And then, Austin, you do lives. When do you normally do lives? Sunday afternoon and Wednesday?
Yeah, I skipped today, but normally Sundays.
Well, today's I get today.
It's a crazy day, bro.
Crazy day.
It's an exceptional day.
And the weekend. I want before I forget this. Huge congratulations to Madison, your wife, for graduating at the University of Kentucky with a master's degree.
Master.
Yeah. I have to call her Master Burke now, man.
She is the master of the universe.
She's worked so hard. She's been
of
doing
the
it.
Nurseverse.
Of the Nurseverse. She's been doing it for 5 years, just on and off while she's been
Good
working.
For her.
Dude,
that's impressive, man.
Dude,
So
that's
impressive.
what an achievement. So hats off to your lovely wife, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, with that said, Austin, go ahead and kick us off on the show.
Well, what's up, guys? Welcome to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture, but it's a very special day. We want to give a huge happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. Where would we be without our moms? I'll tell you where I'd be. I wouldn't exist.
I wouldn't be here. That whole womb thing and birth and all that, that's just a lot of stuff going on there that makes Joe
And
happy.
shout out to John. He did say Happy Mother's Day to me in the chat. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, thank you.
That's so sweet of you.
Wait, womb? I thought we came via storks.
Wait,
I thought we were
cabbage?
hatched from eggs, but
My mom
apparently
said the
it's not
Cabbage
how it
Patch.
works.
My mom mentioned specifically there was a Cabbage Patch involved.
I think someone's lying to us, Joe.
How about no?
How about no? We'll dive into that on a very special origin story one day.
Wow.
But to all the mothers out there, thanks so much for all that you do. You are wonderful.
Thanks,
and
Mom.
Thanks, Mom, and thanks for watching PopX. But as for me, I'm Austin Burke, the Appalachian Geek at heart. We'd like to welcome everybody joining us live in the PopX.live chat room. Come and hang out with us. Join the conversation at PopXcast.com, the website. If this is your first time tuning into our show, the first 10 to 15 minutes, we run down the headlines since our last show, and then we're going to deep dive into all things nostalgic on the retro rewind. We have a fun one today, and then at the halfway point, we're hitting on the show's topic, and today we are diving into the multiverse of madness.
The
So I can't wait for that.
multiverse
Oh,
of madness.
my God.
Oh, money penny.
It's going to be great.
I say, I don't know why I just went into James Bond there, but I did. Hey guys, I'm Joseph
I like
Burke,
it.
Central Florida's seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast, and I want to say founder of the PopX cast, along with Lindsay Badger and Austin Burke. We've been doing this for, Austin came on around episode 8, and Lindsay's been with me since episode 1.
And Joe's just the brainchild of this whole crazy train, and we appreciate every moment of it.
Anyway, also, let's see, joins Lindsay and myself and a host of other creatives on our Discord channel. Now, if you look on the bottom right of your screen, you will see that there is a QR code. If you're watching us on your TV, you're going to be able to do this very easily. Pull your phone up and just hold your camera and point to it. It's right there. Yeah. And you'll go right into our Creative Multiverse Discord. PopXcast has its own thread there for upcoming shows and things that happen here exclusively on PopX. And we also have several things that are for upcoming live streams of people and artists, musicians, songwriters, singers, painters, you name it. We have everything. So join us in the Creative Multiverse Discord.
Yeah. All right. Guys, I'm Lindsay Badger, Geeky Okie over here. If you missed last episode, I think the boys just mentioned a little bit earlier about Moon Knight. Origin stories is what we talked about on our last episode, and rewound the retro goodness of Stand By Me. If you didn't get to catch that episode, make sure you go back and watch the replay. You can catch it here on YouTube or go over to the PopXcast.com website and check that out. And all the other good episodes that you missed out on. There's tons of good stuff there. Trust me. Just dig in, get you a bag of popcorn.
Piles of it.
Go for it.
Piles of it.
Dive in.
Dive in.
Goodness.
Good. Great.
Stick your hand in it. And
Just stick your hand in it. It's
wiggle
good
it around a
stuff.
little bit.
I love it. Oh my gosh. But since you guys are here right now, if you haven't yet, please, for the love of all the algorithms in the universe and the multiverse, click that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and you know what the next thing is. Ding-a-ling that bell so you know when we're going live next, so you don't miss out on any of the geeky goodness here at PopX. And for my podcast friends, make sure you guys are showing us our love by giving us 5-star rating and review, because you know it's good. Tell us how much you like it.
That's exactly right. Well done, Lindsay Badger.
Thank you.
All right, guys, stay tuned. We have PopX News headlines coming up. We've got about 10-15 minutes of headlines. Then we're going to deep dive straight into the topic of Tom Hanks' Big. And then at the last half of the show, you guessed it, all things crazy in the multiverse of madness. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. PopX News coming your way.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
All right, PopXcast.com. And unfortunately, this week I get the sad news of talking about this. And it's not just one, it's a double hit. So just a couple of days ago, May 6th, a legendary comic book artist, one of my favorite artists of all time. The guy is a legend. George Perez, he passed away of pancreatic cancer. If you recall, Lindsay, back in December, we broke the news that he is removing himself from public eye because of his diagnosis.
Yes.
He didn't want to seek chemotherapy treatment. He was 67 years old. He died here in his Florida home, here in Central Florida. He did have stage 3 pancreatic cancer, and Perez just simply told fans at the time that he elected to forego any kind of treatment or chemotherapy, which he was told he had a very low chance of success. And instead, he spent much of his quality time as he could with his family and friends and fans. Now, in the time since he announced his illness, Perez has been photographed at the D.C. offices. One of the pictures you see here is one of the last press conferences he did. And he scheduled a few signings and exclusive meet and greets with fans as one last offering. His work on Wonder Woman and Crisis. If you guys know Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's George Perez.
Yes.
All of that is him. And so it doesn't start there. Avengers, Teen Titans, Silver Surfer. He even wrote for Topps trading cards and did the Jurassic Park comics back in the 90s. So amazing man, an amazing talent. Mr. Perez, thank you for the legacy that you leave behind. Our hearts and our prayers go out to you and your family. But sadly, it doesn't stop there. Just last week, another legendary DC artist, the industry also lost Mr. Neil Adams on April the 29th. Neil Adams, he was literally one of the guys that helped reshape characters like Batman, Green Lantern, and the Green Arrow. He did pass away. But one of the cool things about it, he was 80 years old, but Adams also fought for creator rights in comics at a time when creators and artists and pencilers weren't getting the rights that they needed, and it was just kind of like, they were just cranking out material like crazy, and they didn't have any time to breathe and room. Neil Adams was one of the guys in the 80s that stood up and said, no, that's not going to happen. We need to have regulations in place for us to have time to be able to, we can draw all you want, but give us some time, give us some leeway. And so he conducted regular Q&A sessions with fans on social media. He did live streams frequently. And he was co-creator of numerous beloved characters, including Jon Stewart, Ra's al Ghul, may know that name.
Yeah.
That's Neil Adams. And then the Man-Bat. According to the Adams family, he passed away due to complications from sepsis. Now, Adams, with writer Dennis O'Neil, helped to reshape the public perception of Batman in the 70s, establishing the dark, vengeful spirit of the Knight that defines the character to this day, which Neil Adams' work inspired Frank Miller to create the Dark Knight graphic novel that would forever change the face and the tone of Batman as we see it today, from comic campy to dark and gritty. And so, Neil Adams, our hearts and our prayers go out to you and your family. Thank you for everything that you did. Just gone too soon, but we are so grateful that your legacy lives in the comics that has inspired all of us today. So, sad news. Got to get that out of the way. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and I remember talking about George Perez, I guess it was a couple months ago, and that was just, when you get news like that, it's almost like that time is coming, right? But
George was only 67, Austin.
I know, man.
Yeah,
He
that's
still had
super
20
young.
years to...
Yeah. If there is a bright side, though, it gave us a chance to look back on his work and kind of be able to look at it a bit
Dude,
deeper.
Crisis on Infinite Earths is
Yeah.
one of the largest story arcs in DC Universe history.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's incredible. It's incredible. But yeah, we definitely want to switch the tone just a little bit.
Yes.
And talk about something a bit more exciting and something that is very relevant to what we're going to be hitting on tonight. Deadline notes that Multiverse of Madness's $36 million take is the 8th largest Thursday night. Now, this was just Thursday night. Preview.
Night. We ain't got yet.
Thursday night.
Yeah, of all time. However, that doesn't account for the fact that the film had preview screenings beginning at 3 p.m., which is interesting. So it's
That's
not
early.
exactly a fair comparison. Yeah, some of the earliest screenings I've seen for any movie over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It also surpassed the Batman's $21 million Thursday to claim the highest preview screening of 2022 thus far, and maybe by the time we get to the end of the year. Now, Multiverse of Madness's preview numbers will be folded into Friday's box office for the official opening day total on Saturday morning. For the weekend, Multiverse of Madness was projected to land somewhere between $160 and $175 million. And we'll talk about the final total here in just a second.
Yep.
Some observers have suggested that it could even push closer to the $200 million mark. And it did
Right.
just that. It grossed $185 million
Gosh.
in its debut
Jeez.
to land one of the biggest openings of
Wow.
all time domestically, the second biggest opening of the pandemic era behind 20 years of nostalgia in Spider-Man. For a global start, and this is what impresses me the most, of $450 million. And this is without multiple territories that aren't showing the movie
Holy cow.
due to a couple of things in the film that rubbed other countries the wrong way. They're not showing it. Okay, is that going to hurt the box office? No. I mean, technically, yes, but not really, right? $450 million is nothing to sneeze at. It's an incredible number. The movie's already a success.
Dude, cinema's
I'm
back,
curious-
bro.
It is. It is. Now, I'm curious, just me, what the holdover is going to be, because this one, I don't want to say it's divisive. It has been received well, mostly, but there are some people who haven't loved the film. They just kind of like the film. So
Yeah.
word of mouth is important.
And I
here.
think, too, one thing before we move on with Lindsay's news segment, I want to remind everybody, a lot of the commentary I was getting is like, dude, it's dark.
it's very dark.
It's
Yeah,
dark.
not for families.
But
Maybe.
here's the thing. Here's the thing you got to remember. Doctor Strange is the master of the mystic arts. If you read his original material, 70s, 80s, and 90s, it's almost like Constantine is a great comparison. He's dealing with demons. He's dealing with the possessed. He's witches, all of this stuff. So for the first time, we've always seen Doctor Strange just cast a spell and something happen and our heroes are saved. But what has happened when Doctor Strange is pitted against the pits of hell, essentially?
Yeah.
And so I love Sam Raimi's take on that, but we're going to talk about that on the last half. So I don't want to I'm getting far ahead of myself.
Yes.
Lindsay Badger.
Well, speaking of Sam Raimi and Spider-Man and all that good stuff, let's talk about this. Earlier this week, Marvel fans celebrated the 20th anniversary of Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie and its game-changing influence on the comic book genre as a whole. The film still holds up for a number of reasons, not the least of which is composer Danny Elfman's musical roadmap for Spidey's big screen debut. Man, I love me some Elfman, man.
Oh my God. That's so good.
Now, Sony Music has a special treat for listeners the studio has just announced that Elfman's score is about to come out on vinyl for the very first time for you vinyl geeks out there. Get you some.
Goodness.
Raimi and Elfman had previously worked together on Darkman and A Simple Plan before Spider-Man came along. And before this, Elfman had already tested the superhero waters with his Tim Burton's film, if you guys remember. First 2 Batman films that were epic. Anyway, but Spider-Man arguably represents some the best work of his career. Parts of Elfman's score were recently heard in the new Spider-Man movie, No Way Home.
Yeah.
And during the scenes featuring Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. So make sure you go get your copy of either the standard, gold, or silver in any order you choose. Just get all 3 of them. Why not?
Yeah, man.
Sell them on eBay in 20 years. So you can follow Sony Soundtracks for their pinned tweet and direct Amazon links to pre-order your copies today.
And that is at Sony Soundtracks on Twitter. They posted the link, and they actually have 3 links in the tweet. So you can click it, and it'll go directly to the actual thing. So we'll make sure.
So this would make a great Christmas gift because it actually releases on the 2nd of December.
I think, honestly, this is one of Elfman's penultimate scores he's ever done. I think it's one of the best. Yeah.
Get on that.
It is one of the best. Alrighty, so moving along here, guys, this one's going to blow your lid out into a galaxy far, far away. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 went into production back in November, and director James Gunn has spent the last few months posting about the film's journey. Gunn has previously hinted that there will be some major deaths in the movie and confirmed that this will be the last film to feature the original Guardians crew. While fans are eager to see the next installment, it's also bittersweet knowing this journey that began in 2014 is essentially coming to an end. On May 6th, Gunn took to Twitter to post the picture that you're seeing right here on your screen, and that is basically the threequel has officially wrapped filming, and that's the picture that wrapped on the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And he went on to say, I love this amazing cast and crew and their beautiful talent and kind souls. I'm a lucky man to have them on the journey with me for nearly a decade, Gunn wrote. The director included a photo of himself with Sean Gunn, who is Kraglin, Palm Clementif, which is Mantis, and Chris Pratt, of course, Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and Karen Gillian, Nebula, and Dave Bautista, Drax. You can check out the wrap photo right there. Look at that. They're so happy. That is the last day of filming. On the right.
I don't see Drax in this picture.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Yeah. Nope.
I don't see him.
You're right.
He's sorry.
He's just.
I hear potato chip. Do you hear potato chip?
I'm sorry, but that joke will never get old.
That was a deep dive.
He was crunching on a potato chip.
Lindsay
I mean, someone had to hear a potato chip.
See me.
Who do I see to get my geek card punched?
All right, Austin, you got the last one of the week here. Go for it.
All right. Hello there. No.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Hello there.
Hello.
General Kenobi. Hello there. Ewan McGregor returns to the galaxy.
Good God.
Oh, jeez. Far, far away for the first time since 2000 and... I'm sorry, what is that?
Yes.
2005? My God.
Yes.
It's been just as long since he revisited the Star Wars saga.
Are you serious? It's been that long?
It's been that long.
I wasn't even a mother yet.
Yeah.
That makes
Weird.
That makes me sick. Guys, that is crazy. Okay. McGregor starred in George Lucas's Star Wars prequel trilogy as Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Padawan of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson from Taken, turned teacher of apprentice Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, not from Taken. Though he made voice cameos in 2015's The Force Awakens, that's true. And 2019's The Rise of Skywalker, the finale to the Skywalker saga. McGregor wouldn't reprise his role in live action until Star Wars' Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is the limited event series premiering on May 27th on Disney Plus, saying, I watched all of them to prepare for this because the last one I did, we shot episode 3 in Sydney, Australia. Oh my God.
Wow.
In 2003, I think. So it's been quite some time, almost 20 years.
That's ridiculous.
McGregor said on Jimmy Kimmel, admitting he didn't do them in one go. he added, it was really interesting to rewatch his first turn as the younger version of Alec Guinness's Hermit Jedi in 1999's The Phantom Menace. Star Wars Obi-Wan premieres with 2 episodes on Friday, May 27th on Disney Plus. New episodes will air on Wednesday. So they're switching it up just a little bit. We have the premiere on Friday, 2 episodes, Wednesdays from then on out. What is your all's anticipation level for this?
I was sad when I heard it was only going to be 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can tell a lot of story in 6 episodes. We saw that.
With Disney and the 6-episode thing.
Well, I mean,
I'm not digging it. But anyway.
Well, I mean, it's cool though.
Ewan McGregor can read the phone book and I would be a happy girl. He's on my list of actors that I'm just like, I don't care what costume you put him in and what language he's speaking. Just put him in front of a camera and hit record.
Well, the idea of what Disney is doing here is they're actually filming this. It's a 6-part series, but they're filming it as a 3-hour movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're filming it as a movie, and then they're breaking it up into segments. And so there's segues and cliffhangers between each story, but at the same time, that's the way Disney's approaching it. It's not a bad idea because most shows that are on mainstream television are shot episode by episode.
Yeah.
But this is shot as a film. So they actually do the project as a film, and then they splice it up in the editing room for episodes. Mm-hmm. So, guys, are you excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi? Let us know in the chat. And also, if you're listening to this on the podcast, let us know. Make sure to comment back. How excited are you to see Ewan McGregor reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi? I don't know about you. I am super excited. What is up, S.J. McFly in the chat room? Hey, before we push on into big here, I want to give a quick shout-out. Man, the chat room is hopping here. I want to make sure I mention everybody. What is up, Jeffrey Miller? Jeffrey Miller was in the chat before the stream even began. Yeah. What's up, my home skillet? John Parr from Boggart. We've got, let me scroll down, DC in the house. We got John Michael Hux. I love you, Michael. I'm going to butter your biscuits when I see you on Tuesday night. You know what's up. And also we've got, let's see here. We got S.J. McFly, neighbor next door. I'm gonna throw a pebble on your window when I'm done. Aww. But I know, right? It's these are not the pebbles you're looking for. But are you guys ready for a little Big and some Tom Hanks?
Yes.
I'm kind of excited, y'all. I'm kind of ready to do a little retro rewind. You know what I'm saying?
Gonna be good.
Okay.
Retro Rewind.
All right, we will be right back, guys. Big coming your way, Retro Rewind.
Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind.
Retro Rewinds, and we are talking about 1988's classic movie. I remember watching this as a young kid, and I so wanted to go to FAO Schwartz and play that giant piano that you're seeing right there. Oh my gosh, what a classic movie moment that was. But we are talking about a classic, probably one of my most enduring favorite Tom Hanks movies. I mean, the guy has range.
Yeah.
The dude has range. Yeah. But it's just amazing to see his take on this film. And something that I learned about this film, the child that was in the film that played the younger version of himself, his younger version played all of his scenes, Tom Hanks scenes. And then he went back and watched how the child would perform in those scenes to mimic how he would react.
That's cool.
That's why his childlike innocence is so perfect on point in this, which is amazing when you think about it.
Brilliant.
So I want to go directly to the lady. I want to go to the mother in the house. Sure. I want to go to Lindsay Badger. Lindsay, give us some highs, give us some lows, give us some thoughts.
Well, I mean, I feel like I repeat myself every week with some of these movies that I mean, the way you get introduced to a lot of movies in the 80s and early 90s is HBO free weekends or the month of free service or whatever. And then you just pack full, like every VCR you could possibly muster of just fill the cassette tapes full of movies. And those are the movies you watch until the next free session comes around. This is one of those movies that was a part of the lineup for that free month of whatever. And so you watched it over and over and over again. I could probably quote at least half of the lines in this movie. I've seen it so many times. It's just a good feel-good story. Watching it now that I'm older, the whole explanation of his disappearance was kind of sus.
Yeah.
If you say,
Yeah,
just
it was a little.
Your kid just straight up disappears and then calls and says that I'm kidnapped, but I'm fine, and it's like I'm at summer camp, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, anyways, so that was like a massive like plot hole that I just had to glaze over to enjoy the rest of the
Peruge over. But you think
Just-
about the the law enforcement in the 80s versus law enforcement today. I mean, kids were on milk cartons.
Right.
And so it wasn't like, oh my God, let's put out an APB, put the chopper in the air, let's send the dogs out.
But I mean, again, if you think about the logic of him getting hired, I mean, there's plot holes through this whole entire thing.
It is
the worst backcountry road of plot holes ever. So I mean,
Welcome
you
to
just
the
kind of
80s.
have to accept them and move on.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a magical story. You always, when you're a kid, wish that you were something that you weren't. But then whenever you grow up, you're again wishing that you went back to what you were.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what the overall premise of this whole movie is anyways.
Yeah.
So if you get that concept, then it's done its justice. It's done its job.
Agreed.
So I mean, and the love story was cute in it. It was a little weird,
Awkward.
but it was but I mean, growing up is awkward, and he's going at the same time of being big too little, he's also maturity wise in a natural form,
element
switching from playing with toys to liking girls, which is that was that one iconic line that the Big Mac, the head of the toy company, he goes into his office, he's sitting there late at night, and he was looking over numbers of how to sell toys to older kids, and he's just like, it's just not going to work because they don't care about toys anymore. They want girls. Yeah. And that one line sells the whole ending of the movie.
Yeah.
So I Tom Hanks is brilliant. Again, I just said that a minute ago about Ewan McGregor. You give him the phone book, read it, and he will sell movies because he's just that good. He can fit such a wide range of character types, from animation all the way to the island, acting on his own, all and all the things in between. He can do a lot of different things, and that's why I appreciate him. So
that's a really good take, Lindsay. I appreciate that. And I think for me, and I'm going to go to Austin next, I think for me, I can look past those like script discrepancies and focus on Hanks's portrayal as a child. Because if you think about it logistically, all right, so he's a 10-year-old kid and skips puberty and goes straight.
No, he wasn't 10. He said he was 15 at the end of the movie to that girl.
13.
13. Mm-hmm.
13.
13.
So he's 13 years old, totally skips puberty and is straight into manhood. So that whole growing up phase, of hormones and all that, it's like gone. It's an interesting concept when you think about it. Like, so how does your brain in the middle of it? Anyway, long story short, I'm deep diving way too heavy into that, but I'm looking past the script discrepancies because, it's one of those 80s movies. It's just, they throw out ideas and then sometimes something bounces back. And I think Patty Patterson wrote this, if I'm not mistaken. Is that her name? I can't remember her name. Shoot. But the director of the film, essentially, no, Steven Spielberg's wife wrote this script.
Yeah, Alice, right? Or
and,
Annie?
And she pitched it to, it was supposed to be Harrison Ford, I believe, playing the role. And then Robert De Niro as well was supposed to play Tom Hanks' role. Yeah. So very interesting thoughts going into this. But if you think Spielberg and Harrison Ford, that kind of, there's a friendship there. But if you look past some of those plot holes that Lindsay, shined light on, which are very valid, especially when you're looking at it from logistically, if a child goes missing, they're not just going to brush it off.
Right.
If you look past that and look at Hanks' performance, especially the picture that you're seeing here, his first night alone in that apartment, and the fire trucks are going by.
So scared. I felt so bad.
Gunshots are going off, and really interesting. It was Spielberg's sister, Annie Spielberg. Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting, right? For the script, coming from such an interesting location as a Spielberg family member. But for me, I love There's just so much nostalgia in this film. I mean, you can always go back to the famous F.A.O. Schwartz piano scene with his boss, and I don't know how many times that scene had to be filmed. I'm sure more than once because it's just bonkers crazy.
It's impressive.
But then, you know, you look at the heart and soul of it and his performance. It was just amazing. And then we talk about, you know, the Zoltar machine, which is the science fiction element of the movie, bringing in that aspect of, I don't know what it is. The 80s had this whole thing of, like, the Parent Trap concept with, like, you know, big, you know, going small, small going big. There was a movie that came out with Judge and what's his name? Fred Savage. It was vice versa, where the father become the son and the son become the father. Interesting 80s movie there.
Kind of like Freaky Friday switcheroo sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was like some hot tub time machine type stuff. But Austin, I want to hear your take.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this film in forever, so we were doing this rewind. And I said it's time to go back and see what we're working with, because I couldn't really remember my thoughts on the movie. I knew I enjoyed it, but how does it hold up? And to my surprise, now I do agree with Lindsay. There are plot holes, right? It's the kid's gone, he's disappeared, what actually happened to him? Okay, I can look past it because it's more so Tom Hanks's journey. And then just the relationship. I mean, neither of them really know what's going on there, right? And so it's not like she's in the wrong and he's just a kid. It's not like he's in the wrong. But then when you think about it, it's kind of like, oh, that was weird.
It's awkward.
That's strange.
Yeah.
But I look at the intentions behind the movie, and I think the intentions are there. It's all about growing up, not wanting to grow up. Okay, you have grown up. Why want to go back to being a kid again? And some of the conversations that he has with her as she's, you know, allowing herself, because she's just kind of this, you know, not stubborn, but she's like, I don't really want to, you know, talk about my feelings. I want to do all this. And she opens up to him, right? That's why the ending is so sad when he leaves. He says, you know, you're my only reason for staying an adult.
Wow.
Everything else stinks. I want to go back to being a kid. So
that's amazing.
Like, it's such a heartfelt, wonderful story that resonated with me heavily. And I actually thought this movie was just very well paced, right? It flies by.
Yeah.
And I think Hank's performance is a big part of that. He's genuinely like, this is probably a top 5 role for him. He's so freaking good in the movie. And I had a great time watching this. I enjoyed it.
I did.
Big time.
Yeah, I agree. And chat, what did you think? Have you seen Big lately? According to Austin, this is currently live streaming. If you have the Stars media package, it's on Stars. Yep. It was on Prime before Christmas, but if you haven't seen this, it's definitely worth the $4 to go back and revisit this.
I really enjoyed Tom Hanks, the little kid, the best friend.
Yeah.
His character really.
Yes.
That's the one I grabbed onto the most. He had such a really good emotional attachment. Yeah.
Especially during the scenes where Hank's busy doing adult stuff.
Oh, yeah, at the very end.
He's losing
where he
sight.
Really, he's preparing for that big presentation thing, and he's so mean to him. And it's just kind of like a slap in the face sort of moment there.
That hurt a little bit. That stung.
Yeah, that was painful.
That stung. But, man, I tell you, it's such a great classic film. I mean, the PopX crew here, that's what we love to do on these retro rewinds. We go back and look at those nostalgic movies of our past, of our youth, of our childhood, and we just kind of lay it all out on the line. Before we go into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, though, let's go ahead and do that review. I want to start in the order that we just reviewed. Lindsay Badger, if you were rating this movie, what would you give it?
I'm going to throw a 7.5 on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good score.
It's a good, happy, There's not, you know, you can look past the bumps in the road. Yeah. It's a good, solid story.
I agree.
Awesome. I know you were going to, I'm just going to go ahead and give mine because it was right where Lindsay's was. I think after talking about it, though, I'm going to bump it up just a bit. I'm going 7.8. I want to go back and watch this with Madison. Like, I really enjoyed watching this movie. So 7.8 for me.
Nice. I'm going to go, for me, I'm going to probably, I think I may go to an 8 out of 10. Just because of the nostalgic. I remember watching this movie as a kid. I didn't own a copy of it because I never could find the V8. Pizza time. It's exactly right.
Yeah.
That is
Yes,
so
can't
good,
wait.
Fru. What is up, man? We got a flurry of people joining us right now on the stream.
Yeah.
I am so thankful for each and every one of you guys watching. For me, I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
Well done.
Doctor Strange time, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I believe so.
Let's go.
Before we go into Doctor Strange, thank you guys so much for tuning into PopX Cast. We are PopX. Basically, we're a bunch of geeks that talk about geeky things. If you like the content that you're seeing here, make sure you click on that like button right below. Share this out to your local feeds or Discord pages or Twitter. Help us grow. We don't monetize. We just do this because we love doing it. And that's basically the premise of PopX. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. PopX Cast coming to you. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a spoiler-heavy discussion on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So if you've not seen the film, you have been warned, okay? So here we go.
Danger. You are about to enter a PopX spoiler alert. Beyond this point, there is no return. You have been warned.
You have been warned, guys. I am ready to literally lift the lid off of this entire conversation right now and deep dive into everything. John Krasinski.
Oh my God.
Holy
Him. I thought.
Yeah.
Just like y'all did.
Yeah. It is fantastic.
Sorry, I know
for-
I'm just literally
It is
busted.
X-Men.
Dude.
It is all the things.
I
Unleashed.
literally had to change my underwear in the theater, guys. I am not joking you right now. It was amazing. If you guys don't know the hype behind that, let me share that right quick. For the past several years, since Fantastic Four has been hinted of a reboot, fans have been pulling for John Krasinski to play Reed Richards. And daggone it, Marvel casted John Krasinski as... Oh, my God.
Yeah, there was not nearly enough hype in my theater for IMAX on a Sunday afternoon. I was very disappointed in the reaction of my group of fellow nerds, but I was just bursting with excitement when I saw his face. I was like, yes,
Really,
I can die happy now.
Really quick, what is up, Fru? What is up, Mason the Nerd? Welcome to the chat. So good to have you guys on board. Oh my God, I love John Krasinski. Right, John Hux. So let's talk about this from a perspective, and I'm going to share a couple of things here, and I want us to be able to kind of unpack this collectively as a group. All right.
I like groups.
I love groups too. So
Groups are
let's
good.
talk Doctor Strange. So a lot of the rumblings I've been hearing, especially some people in my own circles, is like it's kind of dark, right?
Very dark.
Why is it so dark? All right, so you got to go back and look at the source material.
Right.
Doctor Strange is not a superhero that casts, does spells so everybody can have a happy life. That's not his role. His role is to
He's not the Wizard of Oz?
No, he's not. He is to keep Earth safe from any opposing multiverse universal threat or demons or any darkness that is to invade Earth 616.
Like Wanda.
Like Wanda, but kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she's special.
Yeah.
we're going to talk about Wanda here in a minute. Did not expect to see Wanda as the main villain. I was kind of expecting to see some cosmic...
Some other new...
Did not see
dude.
Wanda as the villain.
Sure.
That blew me away. So right off the gate, we are thrust into this crazy environment of just Doctor Strange opening scene, literally in the multiverse, and America Chavez doing what she
floating around
does,
in whatever land.
trying to get the, what is it, the Book of
Cherie or something.
Cherie, the Book of Cherie, I think is the name
sounds
of it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds
The Book of Light.
the Book of
Let's
Light.
call it the Book of Light.
The Book of
That'd be
Dark.
Not the
easier.
bad.
Darkhold
Not the
is
Darkhold.
the Book of Darkness. And
Yes.
All right. But man, it was just amazing to just see the scope and scale of this right off the bat in the first 5 minutes of the frame.
Yeah.
We're right in the multiverse. It was crazy. And it was just interesting to see the dynamic and build up because we didn't really know who was going to be the villain until the first 10 minutes of the film. And I'm like, wait, it's Wanda?
Yeah.
In Westview?
Yeah.
Westview? She's in the house from Westview from WandaVision. I'm like, what is going on? Austin, I got to immediately go to you. My brain is just going crazy. What was some moments like in the opening? Let's talk about the first opening 30, 40 minutes, if you will, of the film. Let's kind of unpack that before we get into that. You know, you got your opening, you got your mid, then you got your climax. Let's talk about that opening part of it. How did that impact you, seeing the multiverse and all of this stuff come to pass?
It was a lot, man. I think one of my bigger criticisms with the movie, and I really
Book of
enjoyed the movie,
Ashanti. There it is.
Yes, Book of Ashanti.
Thank you.
I felt like it moved very, very quick in the opening. It's like we have a battle, we have her wedding, we have Wanda. Oh, Wanda's the villain. Okay, now we're already having this huge battle with all of the sorcerers. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much happening right now. Now it does slow down, it mellows out, but they're throwing a lot at us in the opening
30
act.
minutes is like brain melting.
Yeah, it was like they crammed an hour into 30 minutes, and that makes me think maybe there were some things left out of this film. I mean, if I have a criticism of the movie as a whole, it's that it was maybe too short because there were scenes and reveals that just happened so fast. But the material that we get is really, really cool. And they're setting up awesome things for the second act, which inevitably just amps up those stakes like crazy. But that Wanda reveal, and one thing I want to say about Wanda, the Darkhold will make you do some crazy things. We saw the results of that with the other Doctor Strange. And what Wanda does in this film is evil. Yeah. It's unforgivable. She should probably be in prison, but I can't fully blame her. A lot of people are getting on Wanda like, oh man, I just don't see Wanda doing that. Well, that's because it is Wanda, but it's not really Wanda. It's Wanda being controlled by the Darkhold. And it's almost like, what is the thing you want the most? Whatever that is, the Darkhold's going to take that and put you on a devastating mission. And
no matter
mission,
what.
No matter what, right? And Wanda's mission here is to get back to her kids, and she will do whatever it takes thanks to the Darkhold. So the way, to me, they explain that very well, and it just takes the stakes up, man. So I thought the stakes were established so well in that first 30 minutes.
I agree. And so right off the gate, you're seeing that whole balance of light, you know, Book of Ashanti, and then Darkhold, dark.
That was beautiful.
And I love what you just said about Wanda. Well, Scarlet Witch, let me rephrase that. I think the Wanda is trapped by the essence and presence of the Darkhold of Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
And so in there, she's still in there because we saw with Professor X when she went into the mind thing, when Charles Xavier, that's another cameo that we got to talk about here in a minute.
Okay, there's two perspectives on that scene. I think it's both. You guys tell me what you think. And Joe, I just want to go ahead and hit on it since you brought it up.
No, please, yeah.
So with that scene with Professor X, it could either be that Earth's Wanda being trapped by the 616 Wanda or the 616 Wanda being trapped by the Darkhold. I think it is a visual metaphor for both. I think we're seeing both things take place in that one moment, and that was Sam Raimi's way of saying, that Wanda's trapped by our Wanda, but our Wanda's trapped by the Darkhold. That's how I'm choosing to interpret it. If that's the case, it is beautiful by Sam Raimi.
You know, and I love the fact you just hit on Sam Raimi. I love the fact you just hit on him, because Sam Raimi got his start. One of the first films he directed was The Evil Dead in 1977 with Bruce Campbell, right? Right out of the gate, there's so many scenes that I could relate and correlate to in the Multiverse of Madness from Sam Raimi's past, like the eyeball coming out. We've seen that. We've seen that in The Evil Dead before.
That was gnarly.
This just happened to be CGI.
Yeah.
And you know the scenes with the camera work, like the first time Scarlet Witch inhabits her other self in the multiverse, and the way the camera pans behind the spokes of the handrail of
I loved it.
And it's just like there's this dude, the horror vibe is prevalent in this. And that's what I kept telling people when they go to see this. Guys, you got to remember, this version is not going to be anything of Doctor Strange that we've seen before. This is going to be full-on horror. There's going to be creep-out moments. There's going to be moments that may even make you cringe and your hair come up. And my gosh, I mean, Wanda embodies that so perfectly. One example, when she invades the compound, what is it? Doctor Strange's Mystic Arts School. It's fleeting my brain because my brain is not like working like it should because I got up so early this morning. But maybe the chat
I know
can
what
help
you're
me
talking
out.
about. The training camp where all the
Yes.
wizards were doing their thing. It's like a fortress.
But you see that one scene where she's trying to breaking into the shield of the sorcerers.
Oh yeah, she's trying to control get into their brains.
Right, Comitage.
Yes.
When they're at Comitage, and then she's trying her best to go through each one that's holding up the shield, and then she finds a weak link, and then that ghostly presence of her run.
Oh,
Dude,
that was great, man.
That is full on. Did not Elizabeth Olsen look like Carrie, the horror film with the blood all over
with it
her
all
face?
on the side of her face.
I
Yeah,
kept
that
telling
was
Alex, I was like, "This
classic
looks like
horror
Stephen King's Carrie or
business.
something. What's going on here?"
Yeah, that was
This
great,
is some
man.
crazy stuff. Fortify your minds,
Yeah,
says
and then
Frozen 06.
again, John was mentioning the reflections where she came out through the gong.
Yes.
Oh, that was so cool.
Dude, she was trapped in the Mirrorverse, and she found a way out of it by using her own reflection and pulls. That's some crazy stuff.
You would have never thought of that. But I mean, this is the reason why I love the Doctor Strange storyline, is because of the reality twisting.
Yeah.
It's not just bad guy versus, good guy, or, sorcerer versus witch or whatever. They're using the environment to fight their foes in such twisted, imaginative ways. And that's what gets me so excited about it. They were doing that in the first movie where they were twisting streets and buildings and stuff. And now they're just bringing that back into this movie again in totally new and different ways.
I couldn't. Yeah. And really quick, the chat is like literally blowing up right now.
I'm loving this, you guys.
This is amazing. You guys are on a Sam Raimi binge, and we are soaking it up like crazy. I can't thank you enough. I want to read Mason the Nerd said, I believe it was Wanda from 838 trapped underneath there. But it was odd having the sitcom scene from WandaVision playing in that scene, so maybe it was our Wanda trapped.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man,
Interesting.
everybody I've seen, because a lot of people got on my spoiler review and they're like, man, it's that Wanda, she's trapped by our Wanda, and I'm like,
there's definitely a clear two individual personalities that one is being overtaken by the other.
Yeah.
It's like there's a weaker one. The good one is weaker in a way, which is interesting because she was such a strong person before the Darkhold.
Yeah.
Her power was so overwhelmingly, of all the Avengers, she was clearly the strongest before we got into this weird WandaVision world with the Darkhold and everything. The Darkhold just took her to another level. So it's just insane.
It revealed the Scarlet Witch.
The internal battle continues with her.
It does. And we have a question over in the chat room. John Michael Hux asked, what is Strange's third eye? So in the mystic arts, and this is a real thing, mystic arts is actually a real thing. It's not portrayed in the Marvel, like, portals and things opening up, but the mystic arts is a thing. And so they believe that you can tap into your third eye, you can tap into your inner chakra and your soul. And a lot of religions and faiths believe, if you've seen certain religions that put the dot in their eye, it is to harken back to the third eye of their spirituality, of oneness, of their place in existence in the universe. So the third eye represents Strange basically becoming the center. He is now self-aware in the multiverse. He has opened up. His eye was opened after he was basically saw the multiverse from 616 into 838. He saw everything. So now his perspective view is not just on Earth and 616, it's everywhere. So his vision and his sight now goes into the multiverse.
Yeah.
So that explains.
We need to also talk about the new character we met, Stargirl.
America Chavez, yes.
Yeah.
So America
we
Chavez.
got a little origin story for her as well.
I really enjoyed her backstory. It's just sad.
It was sweet. I mean, sad, but also sweet that, it was so simple. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't drawn out to be anything huge, but it was tragic still.
Yep. It was sad. The part where, she's with her family and then she gets stung by the bee on her hand. In her moment of fear, opens up the portal, and then her family is gone.
Just gone.
I'm like,
Yeah.
And then
I want to know. I was just going to say, I want to know more about her. It's like this
I do
movie did a
too.
nice job of giving us her backstory, but it was very brief, right?
Mhm.
Walking out
Yeah.
of this film, the one thing I thought, what do I want to see or know more of? It's her.
America
I need
Chavez, yeah.
I need something more just to get and whatever project she shows up in next, maybe another Doctor Strange movie. I definitely want to see more of her because she's interesting.
I would love to see a Disney Plus series that would expand on
Yeah.
that.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, basically, what we
Powerful,
know
too.
is that she had her 2 moms. The bee sting, the scared her, opened a portal. Mom's gone. But then, what happened? She didn't go through the portal with her mothers, so she had to have opened a second portal at
For
some
her
point
to leave,
for
yeah.
her to leave her home world. And apparently there was a lot of fear in her life to be opening all these portals one after another,
Sure.
kind of essentially being homeless through the multiverse, trying to find her way. But it's like,
Yeah.
I want to go on that journey with you.
Yeah.
I want to see
Take
it.
me.
I want to be a part of it. I want to experience it, and I want to be able to actually, how does she interact with the rest of the MCU specifically?
There was a huge nod whenever they were at the beginning there, when they opened that first portal and they went through everything and they were jumping through all the multiverse worlds, and there was like paints and the weird, crazy, wacky stuff going on. That was like a huge nod to like Hitchhikers of the Galaxy to me when they hit the random probability button and everything gets all crazy. That was just like, that took me straight back to that movie.
It did. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I'm absolutely. And so I think just having those kinds of nods, I do agree with Austin though. I think there should have been just 2 to 3 minutes more of a backstory on why is she the only one in all the multiverses and there's no variants of her. I needed that explained.
Yeah.
Also,
That's also a good question.
Lindsay, you mentioned going through these different multiverses, through all these different worlds. I'm kind of sad. Now, again, we were getting the story that we were getting. It wasn't what we thought it was going to be, right? It was more of a personal story between these two characters. I'm kind of sad that was our only scene seeing all of those different multiverses.
Yeah,
and
I would have liked to see more.
We were stuck in one multiverse for 30 minutes. Then we go back to Earth, and those are the only 2 that we really spent any time in, man. I think we were all expecting the multiverse of, I think the name of the movie kind of told us it was going to be more of the multiverse.
Was there enough madness for you?
There was madness in a different perspective, different
Fair
way.
enough, fair enough,
Yeah,
fair
not multiverse madness. Yeah.
Question in the chat: Isn't she a Marvel? Actually, her nickname in the comics is Miss Marvel.
Really?
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't think she is part of the Marvels in terms of the cosmic side. But yeah, that's a good question, bro. If you guys got any questions during all this, she will be part of Young Avengers. Absolutely, I do.
Yes,
You can definitely
They're
see
setting
Marvel.
that up big time.
Everybody, all of them, all the key players are there. We got the Falcon.
You got the twins.
Yeah, we got everything. Got the twins. We got the Falcon successor. We've got Hawkeye, the new Hawkeye coming up.
Kate Bishop,
It's great. I mean, they're
She-Hulk
setting
as
it
well?
up. She-Hulk. Yep. You are right. She-Hulk.
Could be. Yeah. And I really do think they're going to give us not one, maybe inevitably another huge Avengers movie, but I feel like West Coast Avengers with White Vision.
Yeah.
White
I feel like
Vision,
Young Avengers, like all these different
You're gonna
teams.
see all these new faces again. There's no way they're just gonna do a one-off on them.
No, I don't think so. So let's see here. Moving on here so we're talking darkness. We got the first few moments of the film unpacked. Let's start graduating into the half and the latter and the climax. I think for me, the setup in the, let's talk Illuminati first and foremost. All right, let's talk about that. For me, I thought the reveals of each character was spot on. I thought it was great. I don't know if necessarily was Mordo part of the Illuminati, or was he the one that?
I think so. Yeah, he took Strange's place technically.
All right, so it was great to see the actor that played Black Bolt in the Inhumans come back and reprise his role.
That's crazy.
Now, mind you, all the Illuminati was, oh my God, eradicated, was axed by Wanda in just a single-handed. It was just brutal. All right, so we also had the Captain Marvel, which was Monica. Was that Monica Rambeau?
Maria Rambeau.
Maria
It was-
Rambeau.
Maria.
Yeah. And so we had that. Then we had also, oh my gosh, Captain Carter, Peggy Carter coming back to reprise
she
that
did.
role. So that was nice to see. And
was
of course, one of the big reveals was John Krasinski as Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four.
So good.
I hope and pray that Marvel continues on with Krasinski in the future involvement, that is actually the official casting role for Reed Richards. How cool would it be to see an Emily Blunt come in and just be a Sue Storm? Very interesting. Now, we didn't get any crazy cameos like Chris Evans reprising Human Torch, or there was rumor Tom Cruise as Iron Man. You know, they had all these crazy, far-fetched ones. But the one that we got, the two that we got, John Krasinski and then Patrick Stewart.
Hello.
That was exciting.
And if you notice the moment when that hand comes out, it was the 94 classic TV theme.
I heard that. I was like, I know that song.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, no, and sure.
Yep.
And
That was perfect.
It was the gold, yellow, floating.
Hey, remember, Joe? We talked about this.
Like the
We
yellow
did.
tank
We talked
wheelchair
about
We
thing.
talked about this. Wasn't this like 4 months, 5 months ago?
And we
It was a while back.
You were talking about the chair, and I said, what if he's somehow the 90s Professor X? And we got the theme.
Dude.
They played the theme.
They played the
They
frickin'
did.
theme.
They did.
I think they're watching us.
I
think they're watching us. Kevin Feige, if you're out there, I'd love to have some swag,
Yeah.
bro.
Dude, wait,
Hook a
that
boy
was
up.
great. I just saw it, and I'm like, we literally had a full discussion, and we talked about Krasinski, and you mentioned Black Bolt as the Illuminati. I mean, come on, man. We were rolling. We were
I
rolling.
mean,
We were
as
good.
exciting as the Illuminati lineup was, trust me, all of my geeky feels were tingling when they did the intro. Just that whole scene moving forward beyond the intro, I felt was very lackluster for as epic as they built it up to be.
Yeah.
Just kind of died.
Yeah, it kind of was just like, okay, here's a panel of people, and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
what do they do?
Mhm.
Okay, they tell Doctor Strange, don't do that, and it's like, okay,
Well, Doctor
and then they all
Strange,
get killed.
their Doctor Strange essentially opened up the Darkhold, which almost destroyed their entire Earth and their world.
Right.
And so their version of Thanos, which was amazing Titan flashback scene.
Yeah, that was a
on
really cool
Titan.
scene.
Thanos laying there with the
I
gauntlet.
wanted to see a little bit more time in that world. For
I
just
wanted
a second.
I wanted to see how Charles Xavier and the Fantastic Four battled Thanos in
I
that
want to know
world.
how he gets that yellow hovercraft of a wheelchair over all them big boulders. To be honest with you,
Well,
there's
it
logistics
goes,
there.
No, it goes up. it goes all around.
He's an off-roader.
Have you seen Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory when Gene Wilder goes upways and sideways and downways and diagonal ways? Pretty much it.
It's the magic yellow tank. I
It
got
is.
you.
It is.
It's like the yellow submarine.
Yellow submarine.
Sorry.
That's a good pull, actually. But it was really interesting to see all the cameos. Unfortunately, all the cameos died.
Yeah.
Within
quickly.
But honestly, though, if you think about it logistically, there really was just a minor role in the film.
Yeah, I was expecting a little more out of Captain Marvel though, because I mean, she's literally like a flying warhead.
Yeah.
And she just literally just got smashed by a statue.
And I'm glad you said that, because Wanda in this, well, let me rephrase that. Scarlet Witch is on full display in this film.
Yes, she is.
She is the ultimate, most powerful being in all of the Marvel universe, and she is even in the comics. Dr. Charles Xavier has to get into her mind and block her from her own mind, much like she does Jean Grey with Phoenix. But even Charles Xavier can't block Scarlet Witch. And so there's so many storylines, and the only one that can tame her is Vision in the comics. And it's really interesting.
sense.
It's an interesting concept. Jeremy Stoltz in the chat. What's up, brother?
He's muted, but loving us.
Oh.
Yes, he says, going to see tomorrow. I'll have to catch the replay, but much love to all. He's watching with the volume
Love you,
down,
buddy.
unfortunately. But it's so wild, because for the first time we see this full scope of what Wanda can do. I keep saying Wanda, but Scarlet Witch can do. And it's devastating. The way she kills Black Bolt, the way she literally
The
cuts
Black
in
Bolt
half.
death was
savage.
creative.
And he went to speak, and he didn't mean to speak, and he blowed his brain out.
That's a bad weekend.
But that's Sam Raimi. Here's
the thing, though. In the comics, Joe, right? In House of M, doesn't she just waste everyone? Like, doesn't she just mow through superheroes?
She like knocks out the whole mutant life force, essentially.
So this isn't anything new. Like, that was my one thing. I'm seeing that criticism of, oh, she took them all out too easily. Maybe Captain Marvel and maybe for Professor X, but even then, I'm like, this is source material, man. She mows through people because of the Darkhold and what it does to her mind, manipulating her. And it's all due to the love of her kids, but it's still pushing her in that direction. So it didn't really bother me as much as it did other people, because I know House of M and I kind of knew it was coming, to be honest with you.
Yeah, same. If you've read House of M, which is an early 2000s comic run, by the way, but there's many story arcs that in the MCU where there's total devastation. You can even look at the Incredible Hulk saga. There's one particular storyline with Maestro. Maestro is the old Hulk with the white beard. He essentially single-handedly kills everybody because you can't kill the Hulk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Scarlet Witch, I don't know. I think Scarlet Witch could kill the Hulk. I'm just saying. Get into his brain, blow his brain up, he's dead.
With the Darkhold. Yeah.
With the Darkhold,
For sure.
But anyway, moving forward, we're talking Doctor Strange here. There were so many elements of that, of just the Illuminati. I really love the cameos. I loved all the setup. I love seeing Patrick Stewart reprise that role. He's been playing since 1999.
Moving forward into the tunnel.
Yeah, the
why
water
did
tunnel.
they stop and look back every freaking time they closed a door?
Well, I think each door was a different level of thickness, right?
Well, the tunnel went under a river. They established that before they ran into it. But every single time a bunker would slam shut and the Scarlet Witch would blow through it, they would like pause and wait for her to come through the door before continuing to run.
I think it's just the build up.
No sense
I think
to
it's just the
me.
build up of Sam Raimi's direction to create an anticipation that something bad is coming, and you need to, it's the shot of the camera angle on the foot, them running through the tunnel.
Horror. I can't do women running upstairs when there's somebody trying to murder them. I can't do.
That's duly noted.
I can't
but
do the horror logic.
I love
it just
horror movies
drives
so
me
much,
crazy.
and horror movies is one of my favorite genres.
Nothing against the director, nothing against the genre. It's just a personal thing.
I get it, but for me, I'm totally opposite than you, Lindsay. I love horror. I grew up on horror. I appreciate horror, and I appreciate Sam Raimi's direction on horror in this film. Yeah. So I understand that, and you may see it cheesy. I see it as artistic.
There were a lot of things like Sam Raimi's direction in general, man. It's always with the crash zooms, which we get in this movie. You get a couple of crash zooms, which were great. And some people are going to look at that. Like I have a friend who texted me, wasn't a huge fan of the movie. Shout out Zach. I think some of that cheese and I guess the lack of the full-on multiverse was kind of like underwhelming for some people, but for those who know Sam Raimi and for those who kind of expected his full style on display, and I didn't expect Marvel to let him do what he did here, man. I mean, this is a lot of these Marvel films. I love No Way Home, but if I didn't know John Watts was the director, I would never know John Watts was the director. Right. I think this movie has so much style on display. And even with my story nitpicks here and there, I can just fully appreciate, like, man, the cinematography, the crazy score, the guitar riffs, the magic battle. I mean, just, it was so
that
cool.
one scene when Doctor Strange is going up the steps to meet his darker self, and he turns around and looks, and you hear that piano hit, like,
oh, man. Yeah.
Dude, just full on horror.
Talking about Disney meeting Sam probably halfway with this is easily explained because it's a magical movie. So you're using when they did the John Krasinski's character, he turned into a pile of spaghetti instead of blowing into a pool of blood, right? And gore everywhere. Mm-hmm. The goriest part was actually the shield sliding into the column and there'd just be goo flying off of it. I was like, but there was no puddles of gore everywhere like you would expect would also be related to that moment. You see this, John was mentioning in the chat, Ultron robot oil on her face instead of blood to kind
Creative.
of appear to nod to the horror genre without it being super gory.
Yeah.
That was where Disney probably had this look. You can do this, but we're going to have to do it in a certain way.
Yeah. I love that, though. He tiptoed around that. That's
It's
a great.
creative.
Yeah.
I nod to
Samuel
him for
Prater
the
in the
creative
chat.
moments.
Wait, what?
Sam Prater.
Sam, what's up, Sam? What's up, buddy? That's
What's
my
up,
friend. My
Sam?
friend's in the chat. What's up, Sam?
friend.
What's
Hey.
up, Sam? Man, we are
This sounds
just
pretty hot.
You're pretty hot, Sam.
Yes, he is.
You're pretty hot.
He's so hot.
So we're talking everything right now. We're leading up to the finale. I thought for me, the temple that Scarlet Witch was in was built for
Oh, that
her.
was gorgeous.
That's cool.
It was crazy, right? Like
Cool,
this,
dude.
and which makes me wonder, the person that wrote the Darkhold must have had the Scarlet Witch in mind to come and embody the Darkhold to be
Yeah.
to inhabit the temple. I mean, you
Yeah.
think about the
Yeah.
logistics of that. That's just like she was meant to do this all along. It was her destiny.
It's crazy.
And so, you know, the climax of the movie is basically, I love how America Chavez, let's talk about dead Doctor Strange first.
Zombie land moments
So
for
from
sure.
Earth,
Uh-huh.
so from Earth, I think he's casting himself into the multiverse into a dead body back to 616 from 838. He picks himself up and is a dead man, and basically uses the souls of the damned, if you will, to be able to create a cape.
Can we just talk about how fast the decay happened in that body?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
There was probably like a year's worth of decay happening in like a week.
Here's something you don't
max.
know. It was hinted at in the movie. Time in the multiverse rolls different. 838 rolls different than 616.
Oh.
So in Earth's time, he could have been gone a year or 6 months.
Oh.
As opposed
to that.
There's a slight nod in it when he's talking about time travel, and I think it's the moment when they come out of their first portal and he pukes or something like that. And I remember there's something he says about
That's right. I've done this before, sort of.
Yeah, I've done
wow.
this before type thing. So
I didn't think about that.
yeah.
That's cool. That's a good point.
So
It's a good moment. But
yeah,
yes, so Zombie Strange.
Zombie Strange it was amazing, and I think Zombie
I
Strange
really
was.
enjoyed that fight scene.
I wanted to see more Marvel characters as zombies. Like I was like,
Yeah,
is
that
Peggy
would've been
Carter
cool.
gonna come up as a zombie, or you know, I just wanted to see that because I loved the What If
Yeah.
series on zombies
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much, and it was nice to
I
see
loved
Peggy.
all the musical notes being used as weapons, and that whole thing was just brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I loved every
That's an amazing
second
fight
of that
scene.
fight scene.
I love that.
Yeah.
I met someone who hated that fight scene, and
Are you
I was
kidding
like,
me?
I don't want to
It's
throw
literally
her.
the best part of the whole movie.
What?
It's not Madison. I don't want to throw her under the bus, but she was like, I hated that. And I'm like,
It actually, I don't know. This is probably going to be a huge throwback that you guys may or may not know, but like the Silly Symphonies cartoons,
Yeah.
where they had the war battles with the musical instruments.
oh,
If you don't know, it's like from the 1930s. You have to look it up. It's like a
I remember
Cuphead
the Silly
style
Symphonies.
reference.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
so Silly Symphonies had these two wars, and the musical notes were used as like bullets essentially. And so I really had some good throwback vibes going in that
cool.
whole scene. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look that up. But homework, PopX homework,
Wow.
friends.
Very cool. Yeah.
So the climax of the scene is Strange inhabiting his own body from a
Yeah.
multiverse dimension. And
Dreamwalking, I think is what it's called, right?
Dreamwalking.
Yeah, dreamwalking.
And she's like, "How dare you, you hypocrite! You dreamwalk when you told me
Yes.
I couldn't." And it was just amazing. And I thought that the end of it was so beautiful because Chavez is like, "I'll just give you what you want." And
Yeah.
she tried to be the mother and take over the mother's place, and she
Yeah.
realized she couldn't.
She was overstepping. Yeah.
She was overstepping, but at the same time, those kids in the multiverse grown to love that Wanda,
Yeah.
not this one that's like,
She
oh,
was
it's a
a
witch,
monster.
it's a witch, run, and they were fearful of her. I mean, terrified of, and so it was. It's interesting though that the children knew that she was a witch. How would they know she's a witch if she didn't say she was a witch?
Interesting. Yeah. That's a good point.
So I think it may harken back to some of the powers that the kids inhabit themselves because they are mutants themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
So yeah.
So coming back into the end after they close that portal, and she just kind of, I know what I need to do, sort of dark hole destruction moment, and that building comes crashing down on her. Do you think that's the actual end of the Scarlet Witch, or are we going to see her again? Because she is so powerful.
I don't think so. Scarlet Witch can heal herself. You saw that when she came out of the gong and she was all misshapen and torn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like Wolverine or any mutant that heals themselves quickly.
Yeah.
She just done her thing and she's back to Wanda.
And, well, and when the temple crashes, you see that red flash of light. And for me, that was Sam Raimi saying she's still alive.
He's done.
Yeah. And I think the red flash of light may signify that Darkhold is gone because she eradicated Darkhold from all the multiverse.
All the multiverses, correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if she did that and the red flash is gone in that moment and the book literally burned and decayed, then that means that Wanda still has her magical power somewhere underneath that rubble, and which will be interesting to see that. Elizabeth Olsen is the best Olsen. Yes, John, yes. I agree with you.
Yes.
Man, the chat is blowing up. You guys are amazing tonight.
The only thing she couldn't heal was her broken heart.
Oh, that's so sad.
That's true.
It is true, though. It is true.
It is very true.
It is heartbreaking to see somebody in such misery not get any kind of peace.
Yeah.
I mean, she lost her love. She lost her kids, even though they weren't real.
That is Sam. That's probably going to be the comment of the night. I think I'm going to pin your message there, brother. That's the only thing she couldn't heal was her broken heart. And how many times do you have to see Vision die in front of you?
Oh yeah, or the kids go,
at this
point, oh my god.
You know,
trauma.
Speaking of love and sadness, Doctor Strange struggled with his romance and his feelings for so long, and it feels like in this movie he's finally come to peace and accepted his moment with just letting her go and being at peace with that.
I love the reoccurring question they keep asking, are you happy?
Are you happy?
That keeps coming back into play, and he's not. It's very clear that he's not, but he tries to convince himself that he is. I thought that was a great little nugget that I'm not seeing a lot of discussion about elsewhere.
I agree.
like that.
Beautiful.
I agree. And so we end with the climax of the temple coming down, and so essentially Strange is Chavez. They're going back to Earth 616, and Chavez is now at Comitage. She's training to be a master of the mystic arts. And it's funny, him and Wong, Strange and Wong are walking and just having a conversation, and Wong's like, kind of reminds you of somebody familiar, right? And because Strange wanted to learn, he wanted to, heal himself so fast, and in the first movie. But I think it was a great finality to the whole film, wrapping everything up. And let's see, how did the film end? I know that the end scene credit was with Charlize Theron. We'll get to that in a second.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man.
So the actual ending of the movie was
his eye opening up.
His
that
eye,
was the final
the third eye opening.
Yeah, he's in the street. He walks out of the Sanctum Sanctorum. He falls in the street. He's in pain, and he looks up, and his eye comes
was
out.
asking him if he had any side effects from the book.
That's the side effect. Yeah.
Here's my only negative with that post-credit scene with Clea, which we'll talk about, is you get that big dramatic moment of his eye opening, and he's on the street in pain, and
screaming.
Then 5 minutes later, he's fine.
He's fine.
Well, here's the thing, though: how much time lapsed? Between the ending of the movie and the post-credit scene?
Yeah,
there was definitely some time. For me, it almost took away from the stakes. It's like, well, he'll inevitably be okay. Whereas I would have liked to have opened up in the next film, like the struggle with the eye. You know what I mean? Like something like that to keep that.
There definitely was not a definition of how much time had passed, so I could see that, because he was literally same clothes, same environment, same moment. So it felt like it was just the next
But I love this. But I love the end scene. I mean, that scene
was
is
so
so freaking
Now-
Sam
let's
Raimi, dude.
talk Charlize.
Who is this mystery?
That's Charlize
creature?
Theron.
Yeah, well, I know who the actress is.
Well,
I'm talking about the character.
But when she opens up, she takes the blade and she slices open. That was the realm of Dormammu,
The dark dimension.
the dark dimension.
Yeah.
And so the character, do we know the name of the character?
Clea, right?
Clea.
We talking Clea? Yeah.
Yeah. So the third eye looked creepy. I'm reading the chats.
It did. It did, Mason.
So it's interesting, though, what is going on in the dark dimension. I think it has to do with the absence of the dark hold.
Yeah. And so what is now I've not put together the connection. Someone actually tweeted at me and said, Austin, you have to make a video on this. There's a big ongoing theory that this leads us into Secret Wars and the multiversal war.
Right.
With the introduction of Clea. Does that have to do with her being the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension, or how does that work?
I think that what we're getting here is the prerequisites of the Secret Wars.
That's
we
what I hope
already,
so,
I mean, obviously we have Skrulls in the MCU. They've been on Earth for a long
Yes.
time.
Everything's
a
a
long
Skrull.
time. Yep.
Yeah.
Everything's a Skrull. You just keep on
Skrull
scrolling.
army has been planted.
And so we haven't caught up with what Nick Fury's been doing. We don't know about that, and I think we won't get those answers until Captain Marvel 2 comes out.
Yep.
And I think I don't think Thor: Love and Thunder is going to hit on Skrulls at all. And I think is there any other Marvel movies coming out this year slated? I don't think so. I think that is the last. Avatar is in December, but that's not Marvel.
Right.
But anyway, answering the question, as I believe the absence of the Darkhold is probably going to create a, what did they call that? An incursion.
Yes, they did
in
talk
the
about
dark
incursions
dimension.
a lot.
It has created an incursion in the dark dimension, and
That's when the two dimensions collapse into each other, right? Because you were
Correct.
crossing the time streams.
You got it. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to have to be some sort of event that's going to happen with the incursion, the absence of the Darkhold in the dark dimension. They're going to have to go and do something. It's going to lead straight into this crazy battle that's going to probably bring in the Secret Wars. We're going to probably get some of that stuff.
Oh,
but
right.
it's
There is
gonna be
Black Panther on the list of to-dos.
Black Panther 2, maybe.
Well, and I forgot about Nick Fury's series coming, Secret Invasion, which has Nick Fury, the main Skrull, played by Ben Mendelsohn, and then you have Emilia Clarke, which is pretty cool. So
now,
that
in
could be
Secret
the first.
Invasion, is that a Disney Plus series later this year?
As of now, it says 2022, so possibly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it's Feige.
It lines up.
You know what you're doing. I trust you. Just keep doing you.
Yes.
So we got, and then of course the final post credit scene. Bruce Campbell is
That was so
still
cute.
punching his face at the hot
he's
dog
like this.
stand. There was a lot of
It's
question. A lot of fans wanted to see Ash from The Evil Dead reprise his role because multiverse, you know.
Yeah.
But it was Bruce Campbell being Bruce Campbell, and we love it.
I love him. That was so great to see him.
Yeah, every Sam Raimi film has a Campbell cameo somewhere or another. But it was. I think honestly though, the film, as we're wrapping things up, we're almost an hour and a half into this, guys. Can you believe this?
Woo!
But there's so much that we've unpacked here in just this amount of time. Guys, what did you think of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Leave a comment below. We're going to give our official PopX review, so we're going to rate it 1 out of 10, what we thought. You can do 0.5s and 0.2s and 0.3s and 0.4s, all that. But we're going to give our official review of the film. And, hey, you know what? Sometimes it's good to go back and see it. Also, really quickly, I want to mention this before I forget it. It just popped in my brain. When Chavez takes Strange first time and they break through the multiple dimensions, the first one they broke through was the TVA. You could see Kang's head.
Yeah.
The T-Rex was from a storyline called Primal in Marvel. Can't figure out the paint one, and I can't figure out the one that has white pipes with white cars that looks like Tron. Can't figure that one out. There's several of them that I couldn't figure out, but each one of those is tribute to a different multiverse from Marvel, and or a different storyline from the comics.
Yeah.
So I'd love to own the movie, to pause it, kind of see what's going on here. I have to wait for that.
Soon.
All right.
Soon.
Are you ready for the official PopX review?
Let's go. Joe, let's do yours first this time. You never go first.
Okay. I'm going to go a 9.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a 9.5. I thought this movie, you see, I'm into horror.
Yeah.
I love Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And the first time Marvel doing an official horror film, we can't talk about New Mutants. That's a total different genre. But first time Marvel officially doing a dark storyline. I have to. And the cameos, the story, the pacing, the score by Danny Elfman.
It's pretty sweet, man.
The CGI, just the work by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Love him.
And Elizabeth Olsen was phenomenal in this role.
She played the hell out of that character. I don't think anybody could have done any better.
The range, we were talking about range of Tom Hanks. No, the range of Elizabeth Olsen in this film, the emotion, the tears, the heart, the pain that she had to endure in this was just unfathomable. So 9.5 for me. Let's go to Badger.
All right. Well, you guys know I'm not a huge horror fan, so we're going to knock some points off for that, but it was Disney horror, so we'll keep it at a fair score, okay, guys? Don't come after me. I am a massive Doctor Strange fan, and I loved every minute of this movie, and I'm going to stick it right at like an 8.7.
That's awesome.
I think that's pretty fair.
That's a great score.
I agree with you. All right, Austin Burke, what is your official score?
I hate to be on the low end here because I really did love.
No,
I love
that's
the
all right.
movie. I love the movie. I think I'm a little bit harsher on some of the pacing issues and things, but I think it's a great film, and it's a great Doctor Strange sequel because with everything happening, it's a Wanda movie, but it's still a Stephen Strange film, and we can't overlook Cumberbatch's performances in this film. So I'm going a solid 8 and 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
No, that's good, bro. That's good.
It's a good score for a good movie that I can't wait to see probably like 3 to 4 more times this year.
But see, Austin,
I definitely want a second watch.
You're reviewing this from the scale of a professional film critic. And so in that, you get cinematography, you get directing cuts. You're looking all of that from that perspective, and that's great.
Sure.
So when you say an 8.0 on a film of this scope and magnitude, that's pretty freaking fresh, bro. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'll tell you this. I've seen over 60 movies this year, and it's firmly in like my top 5 to 6. So that's kind of where it's at right now for me. Yeah.
Really quickly in the chat before we wrap things up, we got Daniel Okada with a 9.6, Jeffrey Miller with an 8. We got Shane with SJ McFly with a 9 out of 10, John Hux with a 9.1. Man, you guys are right on the nail with your scores right now. So from all of us here at PopXcast, man, thank you guys for sharing your scores and just hanging with us, because I knew this was going to be a long episode, but we got through it. We did it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a great one. There's a lot of meat in here for you guys to digest later on if you want to go back and review this. So, Austin, if you will, give us the official wrap.
Listen, y'all, if you're here, if you're watching right now at this very moment, 31 people watching, let's subscribe. I mean, we're coming back and doing more crazy, hardcore, nerdy, geeky podcasts every other week. And we're going to deep dive into all of these Marvel characters throughout the summer. We're going to talk Obi-Wan, all of those things. So we appreciate your support, all the likes, liking the stream, man. I mean, this has just been an awesome, awesome episode with some great interaction from you guys. So we appreciate it. I'm Austin Burke at The Burkinator. You can search and find me. I have my YouTube channel, all that stuff, Rotten Tomatoes. We are part of the newly formed creative group known as The Creative Multiverse. For more great media, content, artwork, and more, find us on Facebook groups and now on Discord at The Creative Multiverse. If you are a creative, produce content, or have a talent, we want to see it and would like for you guys to share it with us in the multiverse, especially your art, Joe and Lindsay, and you'll talk about it, always doing your art. If you guys have some sort of talent like that, we really do want to see it, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
And not just art, we are all a multifaceted creative group, so music, art, cosplay, all the spectrum of creativity is welcome in that group for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. PopX is also on other social media networks other than Discord. Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter are a few. Everything is the handle at PopXcast. And if you're old school and want to shoot us an email, popxcast@gmail.com is the answer for you. And if you want to check out any of the past shows from the great geeky archive of PopX, or if you want to check out what's coming up in the future, make sure you go to our official website, www.popxcast.com.
And thank you, Lindsay Badger. It's so good when you get the band back together and we're sitting in the seat, planning shows and doing things. And I tell you what, I couldn't do this show without these amazing two people right here in this window with me. And more importantly, I couldn't do this show without you, the watcher. Without you, the watcher. Marvel reference. Yes,
there we go.
The audience member. You see what I did there?
I love it.
But you know, I truly, I value. I thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys literally being here, being active in the chat, is fuel for me to keep on doing what I'm doing.
It's magic.
It is magic, and it validates us as a podcast. So thank you so much for the love and the kindness. And, of course, I'm Joseph Burke at Joseph Burke Arts all over the web and social media. Hats off to amazing Team PopX as always. You guys knock it out of the park, Lindsay and Austin. And that's it for this episode of PopX. And so we'll see you next time on 142, where we get to unpack more geeky goodness coming your way. We will be scheduling that on our channel very soon, so stay tuned to that. When you see it pop up, make sure you click on that notification bell. So when we do go live on that episode, you know, hey, PopX is live.
It's PopX time.
That's exactly right. So from all of us here, let me make sure I got the chat, make sure everybody's here. Great episode, PopX. Thank you so much, Shane. Appreciate that. And hey, Jeffrey Miller, I'm so glad I stumbled into this channel today.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Look at that, Jeffrey. Hey,
what's up, man?
Jeffrey.
Hey.
Appreciate you, bro. Alrighty, guys. From all of us here, we'll see you next time on PopX Cast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. And have an amazing week.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for being a part of the PopX family. If you liked our show, please visit our YouTube page. Be sure to click subscribe and tap the notification bell so you'll know when we go live next. Visit our Discord channel by clicking the QR code on screen during our live stream, or simply visit bit.ly/Creative Multiverse. Connect with us on social media by using @PopXcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Still, we're still live.
And here we go. Austin Burke. It's been a while. Here we go, baby. Let's go, Austin. Come on, baby. It's for you, baby. It's for you, John Poffenbarger.
What is this?
And I kick it.
This is the end scene credit, Mason, for sure.
All right, man. You good, Austin? It's what?
He's gonna break his chair.
He's good. He go. Oh my God. Okay, we got a break, guys. We gotta go. We gotta go. We really gotta go. Okay. Bye, guys. I don't know. We're still live, though.
Like Richard Simmons back in the
Sweating to the oldies.
I don't need to work out.